Okay, hello and welcome back to the unofficial official podcast, episode number 5. Can you believe it? What's up, guys?
Hello.
What's going on?
A very first remote podcast. This is kind of
So on this episode, we are going to recap the 90s tour that we just did. The last time that we were with you guys, we were heading into 2 days off outside of Omaha. We were on our way to Minnesota. So we have a lot to cover here. I'm going to ask the guys some questions about the shows. I think all of us had a little bit of travel issues, which was interesting that we can go over. And then for the first time, we're also going to have a question and answer session. I don't know about you guys, but usually the fans have some really interesting stuff on their minds they want to ask.
We got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for emailing in. And remember, you can always email us at unofficialofficialpod@gmail.com. Questions, comments, comedic bits. Looking at you, Rich Bentel.
Rich did have a lot to say, which is good. He also had a lot of questions, which is also good. I will say that when you do email the pod, put your name and where you're from. So when we read it, we can say who you are and where you're from.
Oh, yeah, good call.
And Mike mentioned that our last podcast was after the Omaha show. And right when he said that, I was like, man, that seems so long ago. Oh my gosh. I remember that when we did that. It was in the back of the bus. That was cool, but seemed like a long time ago because we had a bunch of shows after that were so much fun. And this 90s tour was a blast. It was fun to do these brand new songs, and doing this era of music has a lot of fun stuff. So it was cool to do a show of just 90s songs and see the reactions of people dancing, singing along, all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we all had a good time.
The general consensus from, I would say, the vast majority of people that came through the signing line was that this was their favorite show of ours. And it makes sense. Like, our holiday show it's a different vibe, right? So the 90s is just pure fun party vibes. The holiday show is fun, but in a different way, because you're with your family and your kids and your parents, and you're enjoying classic Christmas carols and other things. But it's very different from the 90s. We're always buttoned up in matching suits or tuxes. In the 90s, we had these ridiculous outfits. So yeah, I think it was just really nice to offer that secondary straight no chaser experience again this summer.
I think if we wore anything else, if we wore suits in the summer, I think we might kill Steve.
We have once,
Yeah.
we did one time. It was
Steve sweats a lot.
2017,
Steve sweats a lot.
And we did it. It was one of the first times that we did a run of shows outside. And we didn't know what we were doing. We were in these suits, and I think it was like a lighter color, so the sweat could come
It was like a light blue.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
So I think we all
that was the last.
liked the kind of a little more loose with the wardrobe over the summer. So
Back then, it was always like, we got a lot of pushback internally. That was like, you guys got to be uniform always in suits. That's the brand. You got to keep the look. You got to keep the look. And we went out there that summer, and I remember our agent, Andrea Johnson, was there with her parents. I think it was Kensington, Ohio.
Oh, that was
one of
early.
the hottest shows. Tyler got rained on. I remember that. He went out for a run, and then it just torrential downpour came out of nowhere.
Yep.
But at intermission, it was so hot, and we had all been just dancing so much in the first act that like I had completely sweat through my pants, like Steve style. So I put my pants in the freezer during intermission, and Andrea brought her family back to say hello. And I was like, you're getting the backstage experience.
no pants.
Mr. and Mrs.
No
Johnson.
pants
No pants.
If you're wondering what we do after our
That's
clothes after the tour, we just put them in the freezer. That's what we do.
Or the trash.
Yeah.
Throw
Or,
them
yeah,
incinerated.
or the trash. I
Yeah.
think at the
Freezer
Yeah.
trash, we call it.
I think at the end of this run, everybody left their shoes. It was these white shoes that we had, and now it's the second year on those. So, like, okay, it's time to throw them away because I know that. I know that I
Yeah,
left
they had
mine
some
in the
miles.
hotel room, but hey, it's fine. Although we probably should have given them away, but we're not
No.
really. Oh,
Not those
yeah,
stinky
nobody
things.
was. The shoes
Honestly,
after
that'd have
that. Yeah.
been rude.
Um,
They would have given them back. You know what? We're good. We're good. These are bad. We're good.
yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, these aren't going to work for us. Sorry. It's been a long time since we did a pod, so I was actually looking through the phone because that's how I know where we were. And there's a lot of shows to cover. We only got through about 8 or 9 shows on that one. So there's a bunch here. But what I think we should do is I think we start the week off right after the off day, and we'll go up until the next off day. So that's a week. And I'm going to list off the shows, and if anything, or if any night, or if any city, if there's anything in your mind that's, oh yeah, that, then I would like you to say something. Okay, so from Omaha, we went to Minnesota, and there was another show with Lisa Loeb. That was outside of Minneapolis. And then from there, we went on to Wausau, Wisconsin, which
That was a fun show. I remember
Yeah?
that one.
Yeah.
That was the show by No, that was after
thought- yeah.
Duluth. Yeah, that was. I remember we had never been there
Never.
before.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was. We're always surprised by fun crowds that we've never been. A place that we've never been to before, and that crowd I remember in particular was very, very fun, and they had a good time with our show. So I would love to go back there. That was shout out Wausau.
I was
That
gonna say,
fun.
I feel like whenever we go to Wisconsin, it just always works out. Like, even if we haven't ever been
Yeah.
there before, I don't know. I just feel like every time we go up in that area, everybody shows up. It's great.
I remember the first time we went to
Mm.
Appleton, we were all like,
You're like, where-
what
where
is this place? We've never heard of this place. And now it's a staple every fall tour, and it crushes one of our best
Mhm.
markets. So you're absolutely right. Anytime we're up there, it's awesome. And Madison
Yeah,
too. Looking forward
absolutely.
to that this fall.
Going to both places this fall. Gonna be fun.
And then after Wausau, we went to St. Louis. I didn't even have to mention it, but I think all of us, once we got to St. Louis, just loved that show. That was the newer venue.
The
Yes,
factory.
and we had never been there before. It was just really nice, and I would love to go back.
It had a wall of candy out of Willy Wonka's. It was
Yeah.
like impressive.
Yeah.
The amount of little gadgets and
Mhm.
things that they had just around. I'm like, oh, I had a popcorn machine.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, this place has everything you could ever want.
So it's that, and then also I feel like whenever we go to St. Louis, it's always wild. And even though usually we're there later in the year, and it's always great, so we didn't know what to expect over the summer, and
I wanna
y'all
say
showed
that's
up.
The first
It
time
was-
we ever played in the
Yeah.
summer, right?
Yeah.
Is that the first
Yeah.
time we've ever played there in the summer?
Yeah. So we'll be coming back
Right.
there. Were you gonna say something?
yeah.
Maggie? Yeah.
That was a wild day because our tour manager, Sean,
Oh yeah.
broke his foot the
Mhm.
night prior. And we found out that morning in the venue. He texted me, hey man, can you come see me in the production office? And I walk in and he's, I broke my foot. I was like, what? He's, yep, I broke my foot stepping off the bus. Because I preach every year to band and crew to be careful coming off the bus. And I'm the
Wow.
one that hurt myself.
Always happens like that.
So it was a
Always-
lot of,
that.
yep. And it was a lot of scrambling. Okay, he's going to need help. How are we going to do this? He was going to stay. He wasn't going to go home. So he brought his boy in who works for him back at his company in Nashville. And he came in and crushed it, helped pick up a lot of the slack, helped Sean a lot. Ty, you had your family there. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
my,
that's right.
Seeing the fam.
My wife and my daughter and my mother-in-law made it was the closest show that we came to Oklahoma. So they made a fun little weekend trip out of it. They went into the Children's Museum and some kind of gardens. I forget where it was, but we went there during the day. It was pretty
Botanical Gardens,
cool.
right?
Botanical Gardens. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
And if Steve were on the pod, he would talk for the next 30 hours about the gym
Oh, was it awesome?
just down the way.
It was nice,
He
and it was
came
like
back-
right there too, which is nice. So you don't have to
It
get
wasn't
into
nice.
a car and go anywhere. You could just walk.
Wasn't it like a meathead gym?
It was a total, yeah, it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice in terms of nice
Like,
facilities.
if you didn't
It
bench
was-
200, get out of there.
Yeah, it was like total meat locker.
Oh no.
The antithesis to Planet Fitness. Like it was, they had equipment in there that I'd literally never seen before. And I had no idea like how one would even use it or what body part it would even be for. But it was hilarious because he came back to the venue and Steve is a massive gym rat. He's boasting about this gym. He's like, this is the greatest gym we've ever had on tour. And it was like, oh, wow. So I go with Luke Bob expecting this like state of the art, beautiful facility.
And you got a
considering the
charcuterie
venue
board
we were in.
instead. You just got a meat and cheese plate.
Yeah,
Just meat and
seriously. I
cheese
walk in and
everywhere.
I was like, I don't
Oh, I got
belong
you.
here.
No, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it was great.
I don't think they
And it
had
was,
anything
it's
in
a-
there other than stuff. So there wasn't a treadmill. There wasn't a lift. There was not. It was just like you come in here.
Yeah,
There
to
wasn't
was
lift.
like
basically
one
like-
treadmill.
No. It was just
It was basically like, we're going to train you to throw
Right.
kegs over a 30-foot wall to compete for World's Strongest Man.
Oh, we got it.
St.
weights.
Louis.
There's no
Though,
treadmill here. It's
so-
weights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great time. Great venue. It's a newer venue. So it's always nice getting into those newer venues on the front
absolutely.
end.
Yeah.
Because we're used to like the more historic venues like the Foxes and all those different venues. So the facilities in back of house, the dressing rooms, the showers, and all that stuff isn't so great. But these newer ones really do a great job of making sure that the backstage is comfortable. We watched the opening ceremony to the Olympics back there, which is fun.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forget that all of that happened when we were out on the road this summer. All the Olympic stuff.
Yeah, we watched
We
a
did.
lot of
Yeah,
Olympics.
we sure did.
So much.
It was nice though
Mostly
because like it's overseas. Like when you wake up, it's everything's going on already.
It's on.
And you're like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit here and watch. And then it's like all of a sudden it's 3:00. You're like, I've been sitting here all day just watching Olympics, and it's okay. I guess that's okay. But
Yeah, for a touring musician, it was the perfect time because it was on from what 10 to 3, and that's the time where we're not the show. We don't have a show until later, so it was perfect. I couldn't believe the amount of different sports that we watched.
So
Was it the gym?
no, it was the soft serve ice cream. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
They did have one.
it was made out of
But-
water, though. That was not.
It wasn't. Yeah, it
like,
was
I hate
dairy
to-
free. It was dairy free.
I hate to-
yeah, it wasn't the
yeah,
real
like,
stuff.
yeah,
It was not
Yeah,
the
I
real
hate to-
Today Show.
yeah.
That's an inside joke.
I hate to look a gift horse in the mouth, but like, it wasn't. But all right.
So every year when we announce the fall tour, there are several cities that cannot be announced at that time because of other shows that are in the summer, somewhat in the vicinity of that show. So two of the biggest ones that we've been getting a ton of messages and a lot of people like, why aren't you coming back? What the heck? Like, you guys come here every year. This is ridiculous. What's going on? St. Louis and Fort Wayne were the two big ones this year. So at that show, so it's the same promoter for that show at the district in Chesterfield as it is
Right,
at the Fox
right.
in St. Louis. So I was like, hey, is it cool if I announce from stage that we're coming to the Fox this fall? And he was like, absolutely, that'd be great. So at the end, in the closing intro, I always do, hey, should we come back here next year? And they all cheered. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to make you wait a year because we're coming back in just a few months. We're going to be at the Fox in December, whatever it is. And honestly, the place went bananas. Like, that reaction was so incredible. Like, literally, like goosebumps. It was one of those moments where, crap, this is like we're like a real thing. Like, this is real, man. This is really real. And I was so taken aback by that response. That's a moment on stage that I will never forget. It was so loud and so incredible. And we were just grateful in that
We have
moment.
the best
you know what I mean?
fans,
Just
man.
like,
I know, like a lot of people say it. A lot of bands say that, and I'm sure they think that too. But we've got.
they're into it on a
yeah.
different level.
Yeah, man. I feel just it's a nice thing
They're invested. They're invested
in us and also the music, everything.
emotionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just, oh, I love this band. I love Bruno Mars. I want to
Yeah.
go see him put
Mhm.
on a show. I think it's
Yeah,
deeper
like,
than that, which is,
In a way, it's like the underdog story, if that makes sense. It's not like an everyday thing, and
no.
I think that's I don't know. I feel like that's maybe a little part of it too, because like we're just regular guys too, right? Everybody's out there just want to live their life the best way they can, and this kind of like our offering, right, into the world.
Yeah.
Okay, we could have a conversation about that for a long time, but I think we got to move on. The next night was Louisville, Kentucky. I feel like Louisville also is like a St. Louis in a way. Like they're always showing up for us.
Not just the people.
Not just the people. That's right. That's
Not
right.
just the people. Also the cockroaches.
Oh,
come
I
up the
didn't. I must have not been in that dressing room. Did you find one?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
They were
Oh,
coming.
dude, I was in the shower. And a cockroach came up through the drain. This was like a
I was
couple
gonna
years
say,
ago
'cause I didn't hear you scream this time. So
at the performing. Oh no, dude! I literally I jumped out of my skin. I didn't finish
Oh.
the shower. I just wiped the soap
yes,
off.
at the Kentucky Center.
I was like, no, dude. Yes, I was like, get
as
me
we
out
throw
of
them
here.
under
I
the
cannot.
bus.
Hey, it's cockroaches everywhere, right? But I was like, I had come completely undone. I can't deal with
Ugh.
spiders or
I
anything
think
like
we've been
that.
over that on one of the
And
podcasts. So
Yeah,
Maybe,
There's
yeah.
actually a
Everyone
fan
knows.
question relating to that. Somebody answered,
cool.
or somebody asked, I should say.
Yeah.
Rather.
Okay, so that was that show, and it
So
was a
Louisville.
great show.
Oh, there was a
So,
bat
lots-
at
lots
that
of
show.
friends.
Remember?
Oh yeah, there was.
Do you remember that when we did the light thing for Wonderwall? There was a bat that came down because I thought it was a bunch of bugs. I was like, "That's cool." It's like,
Never came
Yep.
back.
Immediately.
So the next night we go to Illinois. Let's see. We go to
Decatur.
Decatur. And what was
Oh.
great about that show was that it was the last show of the week. We had an off day the next day. But our friend, John McLaughlin,
Johnny Mac.
played for about an hour to open the show. It was nice to see him. He is out on the road doing his thing. And it's always nice to see him. He's amazing. So that was
so good.
really cool to see him go up there for an hour and just rock the piano by himself. It was just like, man, this guy's amazing.
His greatest contribution, though, is when we were talking about stage touring in Europe and how our picture will be up somewhere in Europe and it's us all wearing tuxedos. And Segi was saying, people in Europe don't know what we are. We're just a bunch of guys in matching tuxedos that we could be magicians. And John goes, I should say, straight no chaser, not magic.
Thanks.
So good.
He's so okay. Forget about his talent. Like that's obvious.
Yeah.
His singing, songwriting, piano playing, all that. But he's so funny. He's so funny, and it's like muted
dry,
humor
Sure.
because
Dry,
you don't
very
expect
dry, yeah.
you don't expect it from him. But he's so funny. And John, if you are listening,
Here we
and
go.
we know you are, we'd
Shout
love
out.
to have you on the pod as soon as you have us on yours.
Quid
Yeah.
pro
Pro.
We got to pay for that. Like,
Nice. So that was a great show. There's a guy that we used to work with, our lighting guy, Dan Schultz, who is amazing, and he lives around that area. So he came out. It was nice to see him. And the show was like right on a lake. I forget the name of the lake, but it was right there. And it was just a great day. Huber Heights is the next show. Last year, we played there on the Yacht Rock run for, I think, probably the first time. And it's like a real amphitheater, like a nice
Yeah.
amphitheater. Really nice. And that was the last show that we did with Lisa Loeb. She was great the whole tour. A lot of fun to have her out. I always loved that show
is that
there.
where Jasper gave her?
Yeah.
Is that where Jasper gave her his guitar?
Oh, yeah, because hers got
Yeah.
stolen. That's right.
That's right. What a guy.
So luckily, he had it, and he let her play it. And after the show, I think he had her sign it. It's kinda
Did.
cool. So, is there anything about that show that
Yeah, it was a cool venue. It was one of my favorites from the year before as well. So I was happy to see that it was in line with that. It's such a fun show, fun crowd. It was just as fun as the year before. I was looking forward to it, and it lived up again. So yeah, it was fun
Right.
again.
My family was there,
Oh,
so it was great to see them. Yeah, I got to see them the day before in Cincy,
Oh, the off day. yeah.
and it was great. Yeah, it was great to have them at the show. Have the kids see the majority of the show. They obviously had to take off a little bit early, but yeah,
So,
it was great.
Yeah, so that week it looks like we had a run of family, which is always a good thing. It's
Hey,
just
Family
grounded,
week.
and not that it's easy to fly off the handle, but I don't know. I don't know. It's nice to see him around too, and it's nice to see everybody's family, and to see the kids as they're getting older and all that stuff. So the next day we go to Indiana. We go to Shipshewana. Now, I didn't know what to expect. I don't think anyone did, because we
No.
had never been there before. But I guess we probably should have, just because there's nothing else there except for this, and and like we walk in, and this place is so nice, and it has the largest. I don't even know what I would call it, like a screen, like video screen or something. Like I don't even know what it was, but
A video wall. It spanned the entire wall, the entire
Like-
back wall. It was and the venue is very small. Like
Yeah.
it definitely does not need like
Oh.
the largest IMAX theater in creation. But man, oh man, did it make the show look good.
So good. And they had screens on the side also too that were
Mhm.
likely larger than the one that we had on tour in our they were so big on the sides too.
Yeah,
I saw my mom and dad on that show. They had a good time.
we did.
Yeah, man. And I think we're going back
Watch-
to Ship Shawana, right? We're gonna do that again.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
So much fun. We'll do it again. Yeah, that was a fun crowd too. We had never been there. A lot of our Indiana people, chasers that are up in that sort of area,
Right.
were very happy that we were there. So it was cool. Yeah, kind of a different venue with how it was laid out, but the screen was cool. And if we ever get a chance to do some kind of a video or
Lots of acts
stream
going
or
through
something
there.
from-
Lots of
Yeah,
things on the walls. Lots of
Lot of
country
country.
acts. Lots of guitars that are signed by
Yeah.
people. Like it's just a good spot. Like it was like a solid place. So the next day we have a day off because we're on our way down to Florida, and we stop in Nashville. So I got to spend the day at home, which was really fun. I'm sure you guys had a good time in Nashville that day. And then the next day
Saw a
what'd you
movie.
see?
Didn't we see a movie? See
Deadpool?
Quiet Place?
No, that wasn't Deadpool Wolverine Day.
Yeah, we saw Deadpool in Nashville, but was that at the same time?
Oh yeah, that must have been it.
No.
Yeah. Oh yes, it is because it's gonna lead into a story.
Okay.
Okay,
The
so the
next
next day
a bunch of us went and
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
Deadpool.
Yeah.
That's the
That's
story.
the story,
That's
okay.
it. It was good. Great movie.
um,
Funny.
No, the story comes on the next.
Well, then
day.
why don't you
Ooh,
let
it's the next
us know,
day.
or like, why don't you let everybody know where we're headed down to, what the show's about, the next show, because it's the first show with another guest on this tour, and you have a story about it.
So we head down to St. Augustine, another repeat venue from last summer's Yacht Rock tour, which we were with Ambrosia there, which was the same for Heber Heights. But this was our first show of a run of shows with O-Town and Chris Kirkpatrick. And I don't think any of us really knew what to expect from these guys. I don't know why, but I was envisioning they were going to be a little like too cool.
Yeah, I had the
For
same.
us,
I
like,
thought the same.
Leave us alone. Like, you guys are this little thing. We're these boy bands that were unbelievably massive with huge hits. But man, oh man, could I not have been more wrong. These guys were so cool, like unbelievably down to earth, super nice guys. But the story about Deadpool was that we were standing on the side of the stage during soundcheck, and a few of us were talking about the movie. And Chris Kirkpatrick walks up, and I was like, "Oh, hey, have you seen Deadpool yet?" And he was like, "Yeah, we went to the premiere." I was like,
Okay, I'll be over here.
I was like, "Of course you were. Like, how stupid am I? Of course you were at the premiere. Your song and dance was like a huge part of the movie. Of course you were
The
there."
opening
I
credits.
didn't know
Yeah.
that. I
I
was
was
like, why are you saying that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
I was
big
like, oh,
part.
he's there because he's obviously super famous and
Like spoiler
Songs in
alert,
the
he
show-
does the dance.
in
he
the-
does the
oh, it's
choreo.
in the movie.
Yeah.
Yes, it starts
Whoa.
with it. Yeah,
It,
spoiler
like,
alert.
opens
Sorry.
the movie. That's
Yeah.
awesome. For them, man. Come on. Nice. Good.
If you don't know, Chris Kirkpatrick is from the band NSYNC, which was a boy band that was very popular. And I would like to also say that these are two bands that I grew up listening to, and it was very surreal, at least for me, to
Oh,
have
big
these
time.
guys being, performing with us. And if you would have told high school Tyler that a dude from NSYNC and O-Town would be performing with him, I would be like, you are out of your
Dude.
mind. That's why I thought the same as Segi. Like, I thought these guys would be, whatever, but they were so nice and so cool. And like, I'm so happy that we got to hang out.
I don't
want
want to be, I don't want to be like rude or condescending, but like they were opening for us, right?
I will say that like they like we didn't know what to expect from their set or whatever, but like in one word, like it was hype. Like they got that crowd up and singing
time.
and dancing, and we were like, even all of us were, whoa, like they are rocking and rolling here. Seriously, again, fun to see Chris Kirkpatrick sing like NSYNC song. It was so fun. That show was so fun. They sang along to every song. I even went up to David, our manager, who was there that night, and I was like, "This is what makes this so much fun when you have shows like this was so
Absolutely.
cool."
So that show was on a Friday. And the next day we were supposed to go to Clearwater, which is on the other side of Florida. But if you guys remember, it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was a hurricane that was rolling through all the way up the East
Debbie.
Coast. Yeah, right. Long story short, the show that we were supposed to do the next night got moved to Monday. We were off on Sunday. Probably the first time in the history of SNC that we were out on the road on a weekend and we didn't have a show. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Not to have a show on a Saturday or a Sunday. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah. It was weird. That whole weekend was, everything was so up in the air. Like they were like, we got to move the show to Monday, and we still don't even know if that's going to happen. Like this hurricane's pretty wild. We don't know if we can make it. And there was a lot of concern about getting to Clearwater. And if we get to Clearwater, we got to head up to South Carolina, and we're going to be following the storm. So there was like 3 or 4 shows that were like all in jeopardy that weekend. And it was like, man, what are we going to do? We can't just be sitting around not doing shows. We're paying for all these buses and for the crew and for hotels, everything on stage, the buses, all the equipment is all paid for by us, like renting the facility. It's part of the deals with the promoters, all the expenses, the labor, all that stuff we share all that with the promoter. But yeah, there's a lot of moving parts. So when the shows go away, all the expenses are still there. Then it gets a little worrisome. Oh man, this is going to put a big dent in things. But luckily we were able to do that show on Monday. And props to there weren't a lot of people there. There was probably like, how many people do you think were there? 150 people?
Yeah, I would say
maybe
I would say 300, 400.
Small, but
it was
mighty.
raining still a little bit.
It
was raining a little bit still. But
Jeez.
it wasn't.
That seems high. Like it was empty, and it's a big place. But man, so thankful for all those people that came out because they were super hype. You know what I mean? Like it might as well have been a sold out show. They were going bananas because again, you had O-Town and Chris Kirkpatrick come out, open that show, and just take the roof off the place energy wise. So that made it so much easier for us coming out there to a 6% sold venue, not sold, but showed up on the makeup show. It was awesome. We were getting poured on during sound check. Do you remember that? It was just pouring on stage. Like it was soaking wet on stage.
They were out there with those,
I was literally
like
helping
brooms.
squeegee the water off. Yeah.
Getting the water off. I'm like, I don't know if you're doing anything, but
yeah, it's just wait till it's done
No, it's
raining,
great.
then do this. But it was awesome. And then the hang afterwards with the O-Town Bros and Chris Kirkpatrick was
And that was the
really
last
cool.
show that they did with us. Yeah. last
yeah,
Yes.
they only did 2 because that one got.
So the last week of the tour, so that's the beginning of the last week of the tour. Because usually we would have been off on that Monday that we did that show. But so we left there. So we left Clearwater and we go up to South Carolina.
Greenville.
Yeah. And was there anything about that show? I
we
don't mean
hadn't
anything
been-
against
I
Greenville,
didn't
but
re- no, I
don't know.
I got my haircut there.
Yeah, it was just one of those. It was in the middle of a week that was wonky to begin with, and it just didn't. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
We haven't been
It's
there
a fun
since
show.
like
Indoors.
2019. We haven't been there
Yeah.
since then, and I didn't remember that venue, but the venue was really nice. Backstage was really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Did
It's
a
a
bunch
good
of
spot.
laundry. Laundry's big perk on
Huge.
tour. You can do laundry. That's
Yeah.
that's a good.
Yeah.
So from there we go up to Wilmington, but all right. So we
No,
were
we didn't go
supposed
to
to do
Wilmington
a show in Wilmington, North Carolina. But if you know anything about the hurricane, it was going like right over Wilmington. So we couldn't get there. So we had another off day on Wednesday. there's a lot of off days, and we're not really used to that.
Yeah.
It
was
kind
the day
of
off
made
tour.
it seem like it was longer than a month and a half. So was it about a month and a half? So maybe a little less than a
5
month and a half.
weeks, yeah.
It should have been. It should have been
But
6 weeks,
It
but
really
it felt like
almost
a
3
year.
months, just because there was no rhythm, right? Like we didn't have a
Yeah.
rhythm.
And there was no like good time to
None.
get home for a day or two and then get back to the
Right.
road. So that also made it
Mhm.
feel very long.
Yeah, so we'll get back to Bloomington because we had to make that show up the next Monday, so it made a little bit longer anyway. Okay, so I forget where we were on that day because we were going to Maryland.
See,
Oh, because we're going to Bethesda.
yeah.
Tyson's
right.
Crossing,
Okay, so we're
Yep,
off that
right by
day.
the
Tyson's
mall.
Corner,
Um,
Tyson something.
I did some recording with Walt that
Tyson.
day because we are recording Yellow Brick
Song.
Road. It's not out yet or anything. It's in the works, but I just remember having to record that there. I think that was there. So after Bethesda, we go up to Massachusetts. So we go outside Boston. We go to Beverly, Massachusetts, and we're doing a live stream show that night, which is really fun. That was the
Oh,
live stream show.
yes.
And
Yes,
it was at a
yes, yes.
theater. It was a really small town. It was an old movie theater that they
Yeah,
made into a theater. No showers, no nothing. Not like a normal venue that we would, play.
yeah.
Right? But the T3.
Usually they give us
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
so usually they give us showers at a nearby hotel. This one was like 30 minutes away.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Sean was like, "Don't walk there. Take the runner." And I said, "Okay." And the runner's like still driving. I'm like, "How much farther is this place? Where are you taking me, bro?" This Holiday Inn, like 30 minutes away. I'm like, "Cool." Anyway, but go on.
Segi, can you talk about the live stream and the opener and just how everything like that went?
Yep.
All of the logistics for that stuff and just how
Sure.
it all worked.
We text our buddy Robert Hubbard, the owner of Emphasis Films, and we say, "Hey man, we want to do a live stream." So he sends his team out. They plug all their stuff in. They hit record. We have a secondary audio board tucked away in a basement who mixes from Yonin's mix to the live stream. So basically he takes Yonin's mix for the room, adds some ambiance and reverb, and then pumps that out into the live stream.
Just that easy. You just call Robert
Yeah,
Hubbard.
just
You hit
call
you
Hubbard.
hit record. Now that's important. So you hit record,
The live stream
Yeah.
and then you have
It's-
it.
is
live
a lot
stream
of work
Robert Hubbard
for
hit record.
for
other people.
Yeah, we do
For
we
us-
do our normal thing.
Yeah, for us, the day is the same. But for all the camera men and women and the director and all that stuff, they're working all day. And then for the following week, actually just got all the footage from Maddie today, rendering all the stuff and formatting it for different sizes and color fixing, color correcting, whatever. So we're like, you know what? We're doing a live stream. We're asking people to pay $20. Let's give them some added entertainment value. So we called our friends T3 and we're like, "Hey guys,
Woo!
you're going to be close. Why don't you guys come up,
they
open
are
the show?"
a
They are a
Trio.
trio. They're 3 tenors. I don't want to say they're a cappella because they do both.
yeah
Vocal
know,
trio.
Yeah, vocal
Mm-hmm.
trios is a good way to describe them. And they're all tenors and they all sing
So
insanely high, especially Brendan. But man, they're so good. They're super tight. Their show is great.
They have bright suits.
Very bright suits. They came out, crushed it, got the energy up, and it was a really
Fun show.
fun show. I think most of us throughout the day were just, this venue is not it's small, like
Which
real
is a great
small.
attitude.
I mean,
It is.
it's the end.
Yeah.
It's like the
I got
last
you.
week of the run.
I
It
got
was-
you.
but
like
the energy is
7
always
shows in a
very
row.
high on those
Yeah.
on those live streams because it's not only the people that are in the room, it's like everyone else who's watching, and you don't know if it's 3 people or if it's like a lot of
Yeah.
people. Like you don't have any idea, so you have to give your all, and everyone gives their all every show. But it's a different thing. Like it's like when there's cameras on you and
It adds another
there's all
dimension.
this different stuff going on. And we're going to do it for the holiday tour as well. We're not sure when. We will let you know as we get going, but it's always nice to be able to just to have that as an option for people who,
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
Can't make it.
And I think over the years, like we hear about a lot of different, or like a lot of things. Like I think we met somebody, I forget where it was, maybe St. Augustine, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I get your live stream every year, and I like have
Oh,
all
yeah.
my family over, and we watch it on the big screen, and it's a whole thing." And I was like, "I'm so glad you shared that with me because that's why we do that. That's why we do it. It's like for that. It's not to make money because we don't really make a ton of money on it. That's not, but it's just to give you another way to see us if you want to. And I think that's cool.
We can't get
So-
everywhere
yeah.
as much as we'd like to. You know what I mean? There's only so many days in the
Right.
fall, and we wish we could get everywhere. But this is a great way
Wish we could
to
get everywhere,
get-
man.
get everywhere.
I'm sure our
All right.
our manager and agent would love if there was another week in
All right.
December.
So would we.
Yeah, true.
So that was really fun. Also, one more note about that show. We have an opportunity to work with a whiskey distributor out of Austin. We got to try
Oh, yeah.
all of their whiskeys that night. It was called
just
Still
little
Austin.
bits. We didn't like.
Still
try all
Austin
of
is the
it.
name of it. Still Austin. And
Was it
they
good?
gave us 6 different things. They gave us all kinds of different whiskeys, and there were some other things. And then they gave us a gin. It was like a random gin. I didn't have the gin, but one thing I do remember about it is everything was so strong. It was like 90 and
Yeah.
higher. It was like, because there was one that was like 116 proof, which is really strong. There was one that was like 95. That was the lowest. It's not a mixing drink. Like you don't want to mix this whiskey with a Coke or with anything else because I would think that they would think that would ruin it. That wouldn't be the way to do it. But it's not a whiskey that you can have a bunch of. You just sip on it, and it was
Yeah.
really good.
I had. Yeah, I think I had little bits of 3 of them. It was.
it was
You're
great.
right. It was the little bit that I had was strong, and it, as my grandpa says, it'll get you
I'll
where you
get you
want
where
to go.
you- I love that. Mix it up. Okay, you also said mix it
Different
up. You
grandpa,
also
but
mix
yes.
it up.
No, that's a
different-
different grandpa. Yeah.
Oh, so that was really nice of them, to send us all that. We loved it. Still Austin is the name of this whiskey. And they make a bunch of different, I know they make a gin as well, but it was really good. So the next day we go up to New Hampshire, which I feel like we go there every summer. I
Yeah.
feel like we go to Portsmouth every summer. It's a thing that we do. It's really cool. There's not
Tradition.
much to say about it. Not much.
Always crushes.
Yeah.
Great town.
Great crowd.
beautiful
great
town.
Did we do
It's always nice to be
some
there.
video stuff there? I feel like Maddie and them were
Yeah,
still
we
with
filmed
us.
a bunch of stuff.
Were they still with
for
us?
Promos or something. Yeah, they were still with us. Promos or something. I
Yeah.
forget.
So after then we go down to Lancaster, which I'm sure you all know where that is. Lancaster,
I like to call it Chaser
Pennsylvania.
headquarters.
That's right. And we got to do a really cool thing that day with
Oh yeah.
His name is Fit Dad CEO, and his content is hilarious. It's a lot about being a dad, dealing with kids and the wife and all the things, and hilarious. He's also a massive
6
Eagles
kids
guy.
under
Hates
under 16. he
What
said,
was
right?
that? Edit that last part out,
Right?
please. Edit that last part out.
16 is the oldest kid.
Like
yeah,
3.
and then he's got six. It's too many.
He has got his
Too
stuff
many
together,
kids.
though, man. This guy, man, this guy.
So
Awesome.
good. We filmed a bunch of stuff with him. He actually sent me the
Oh,
video
cool.
today. He's gonna post it this week. He was like, "What do you think?" I was like, "Dude, this is amazing. It's nice. I'm gonna make it live this week." I
Cool.
was like, "Sweet." So we did a few things with him, and when you meet people like that, sometimes you don't know if they're just like blowing steam or if they're actually fans or whatever. They're like actually fans of the band.
He loves
Him and his
Tyler
wife.
Solo.
They
Tyler Solo.
he does love Tyler solos.
He had recorded 2 videos from the concert that they went to in Lancaster.
It was
and
MMMBop,
They were both
right?
so
It was MMMBop.
MMMBop and the top of the women's
There you go.
medley, which is very nice of him. They are great songs.
They
I
are.
don't know if it was me, but it's probably the song. But
No, it was great.
So yeah, that was cool. We spent our afternoon doing that, filming some stuff with him. And
He
he's
was
such
so
a pro.
fast,
We were
right?
done in 15 minutes. Yeah. And we probably got 3 videos out of it for him. So that was so cool. Shout out FitDead CEO. Follow him on all the
Shout out.
socials.
Right.
He's hilarious. If you hate the Cowboys, you'll love his content as well because he does a lot of anti-Dallas Cowboys stuff.
we'll edit that out.
And
Yeah,
then also,
yeah.
I just want to, and also, like, I want to give a shout out to every time we go to Lancaster, like, there's lots of support. There's not an empty seat in the house. And that's where, I don't want to say that's the hub of our chasers, but that area, so that always, always
It's got to be
screams.
there, Hershey. It's one of the two. We see the most chasers that have been with us, been fans of ours since the beginning, and so
since
loyal.
like AC, yeah.
Since so loyal, and they have been to every show in Pennsylvania that they can. And that show and the Hershey show are usually the most attended as far as our chasers. So it's
It's
so
a great
awesome
show.
to see that.
Other than the fact that's
Had a
next to
great-
like, dairy farm, so it,
But
smells.
that wasn't the
backstage like
worst
poop,
smelling.
but-
That wasn't the worst smelling thing that day. My suitcase.
Oh, because of the water.
So yeah, we had a leak in our bay. So our luggage is all underneath
it a
the
leak, or
bus.
was it just
the-
the hurricane?
I don't
Or
know.
was it just Debbie? Was
I
it
don't
just
know.
Debbie?
Just blame
It
Debbie.
must have been.
Been Debbie.
But everything in
Either
my
way, it's
suitcase
still bad.
was completely soaked. And I didn't know because the stuff in my suitcase was like button downs and pants and all the just in case stuff. Because we wear the same 4 or 5 outfits on the road every day, just shorts and a shirt. So I rarely ever go into that suitcase. It's just there under the bus when I need it. I pulled it out in Lancaster. I was like, oh, maybe I'll I've got it. Oh, we're doing the Fit Dad stuff. So I was like, I got to put on a nice shirt. So let me go get a nice shirt out of there. And I open it up and it was just like mildew heaven. All the mildew it was brutal. I washed my clothes 4 times there. I sealed it in bags to get it home and washed them again at home. I ended up having to throw away most of it.
oh,
I soaked it. Dude, I soaked it all in vinegar for an hour. I did all these different things that I read online that you're supposed to do. Ended up having to throw away most of it. I threw away the suitcase
I don't think
I
I
threw
knew
away-
that. You threw away most of those clothes? I did not.
when
know
I got
that.
home. Yeah,
I
I threw away
didn't know.
two pairs of shoes. It was brutal, man.
God,
It
this
was
is a guy
so brutal.
who, if he sees a bug in his house, he burns the place down.
This is true.
I remember
This
when
is true.
I remember one time when you stepped in dog poop and you're about to throw away your new shoes. I'm like, just wash them off.
Yeah, but that smell doesn't go away, man.
It does. It
sticks.
does. In that situation with your clothes, it did not go
Oh,
away.
that
but
was great.
usually
No.
dog-
But it's all good now. Everything's
No.
good. Everything's good.
Not my wallet. I had to go buy a bunch of new stuff.
Oh, great. Oh, my goodness. It's the little things. That was the second to last
which are
show.
the little-
So the last show is we go down to Wilmington and we do the show that we were supposed to do the Wednesday before. I forget if we had ever been there. I know that we had last summer, but it was outside. This was indoors.
First time
Really
at the
nice
indoor
venue.
place.
I-
Beautiful venue.
It was cool. I think everybody was ready. Show was great.
Yeah.
So
Great show.
Yeah.
Great crowd.
So our question man,
Audience members.
Tyler, has logged
Yes.
onto the email. He's gone through all the questions.
That went
hundreds,
down very
millions
quickly.
of questions.
And that was just from
And that was
from
just from
Rich.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
he selected a couple that he's going to ask right now, and we're going to answer. And this is going to be something that we do every week. So make sure if you want to have your question read that you write in to unofficialofficialpod@gmail. If your question doesn't get asked, you can blame Tyler because he's the one who's picking him because he's the question guy. All right, Ty, go ahead.
I'll just say again that when you do email in, put your name and where you are
Nice.
from or what show that you saw. So this first one is from Jenny Jones, and she says in parentheses, not the TV show host. So I don't know.
Timely reference.
I don't know.
She had a daytime talk show similar to Jerry Springer, Maury Povich, Ricky Lake.
Jenny Jones?
all that
like
kind of
old,
stuff.
like old
Oh,
school.
Yeah.
I've never heard of her.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean,
Early mid 90s.
Okay, she came to a show. I don't know if she's from Shipshewana, Indiana, but she came to that show. Her question is, what is the process the group has to go through to sing another artist's song or songs? What kind of permission do you need in order to record or perform their music?
you two would be the ones to answer them because you got screwed on a song by an artist. It was one of the best
Jeez.
arrangements ever that we couldn't release because of an artist. And Segi knows about all this stuff too. So, yeah. You'll take that one, Segi.
I will say that the very simple answer is there's different rules for if you are recording a song on an album versus if you are performing it live. The general rule is performing a song live has a lot more leeway into what you can do and what you can't do. From my knowledge, there's a bunch of blanket licenses that go out from venues and promoters to be able to perform this music
is
live. Recording is a lot harder generally because if you are going to record a song of somebody else's work that they have written, you usually need their permission. And in some cases that we have had in the past, it has gone south, but other times it's gone. That's
Like the one thing about that though is if you do the song like they wrote it, a lot of the times it's not a problem. But the one issue that you had is that we
Mashed it up.
remixed it, and that was their flag, right? So that's the difference.
Yeah, like same with like we're performing a song live, recording a song that's a straight cover, which basically a straight cover means like you're basically doing the song pretty much the same as how you know the song originally or how you heard it on the radio or whatever, wherever you heard it. That's usually a lot easier than if we completely flip a song per the arrangement or the arranger, or if we mash up a song. Once you change the wording, like the original artist's intent of the song, basically, then you have to ask their permission, which can get you into jump through a lot of hoops, if you will.
Unless it's parody, then it becomes fair use.
Right.
If it's parody, it becomes fair use, and you're good to go.
And we do a lot of parody.
got into a lot of-
so there's a lot of things that
We do.
That's right.
we've been involved in that.
We got into the weeds there a little bit, Jenny, and I hope that answered your question. And we thank you so much for your question. Should I move on to the next person?
Next one.
I'm gonna do two
Okay.
more. And I'm gonna save our boy Rich for last. Okay, let's see here. No, that's more of a comment. Okay, Ashley Weber.
This is your first time looking at these?
No, it's
He
the
picked
third.
them.
I was gonna. Rich was the next one down, so I had to choose the
Nice.
next. There's 4. Okay, so Ashley Weber, I believe I said her last name right. She, I think, is from I know her, so I think she's a Pennsylvania chaser. She asks 2 questions. 1, what is the weirdest item on your rider, and who is it for? Second question, what's the strangest request you've received during your meet and greets?
I'll take the writer question. Our writer is really boring, mainly because we realized early on that we didn't need all the stuff that we were ordering every day. Not ordering, but all the stuff that we were requesting every day. Because if it doesn't get eaten during the day, which it usually doesn't, there's like half of it left, whatever it is, whether it's a box of crackers or like whatever. And we always have so much left over. So I think over the years, we've decided to only get what we need when we need it. Yeah. It's not, there's nothing super exciting. I guess the most random thing would be like, I don't even know if there is anything that's like a random thing.
At one point, we've changed it since then, but at one point we had 4 different kinds of M&Ms. Remember that? We had like peanut,
That
pretzel.
was because of Mike, though.
We never did the
Oh,
green
okay,
thing
well.
or the
Not
only,
Mike
or
Lugenbill.
like the only the reds or only the browns. We never did that.
It was like milk chocolate, peanut,
Yes.
pretzel.
I will say I regret that we don't have
Those
we don't
aren't
have
on
the
there?
candy on there anymore. I'll say that. Maybe we should
Well,
get that
yeah.
back on there. But so I guess the answer is there's nothing out of the ordinary. I know that's a lame.
Tyler requests a unassembled 1999 Toyota Prius at every show. in
Then
his
it's
dressing
yet
room.
to get
They're
it.
still. They say they're still letting me
yet to
know,
get
but
it.
I don't know how long did it take.
He's very.
What was the other
wasteful.
question?
I'll take the
take the
I'll
other
take the
question.
signing line question, and
What's
this goes
what's the strangest request you've received during a meet and greet? Any
this
meet and
goes
greet.
back to Atlantic City.
Ooh, I think. Wait, I might know what it is.
I think summer 1,
Yeah.
and this woman comes through the line, and she was like, "I would like to have your baby," and I was like, "What?" And I saw that she had a wedding ring, and I was like, "I don't think your husband would want that."
She's like, I'm a
And
surrogate.
she's no, he was standing directly next to her, and she was like, "Oh no, he's cool with it."
Did she like laugh afterwards, or was she dead serious?
Wow.
I think she was like joking, just like flirting, like in a funny
That's
way.
pretty
But it was
good.
really
That
awkward.
is awkward. Every once in a while, we'll have people ask us to sign their body, but it's not as much as you think. There was the other day, it was an arm or like back or something. It's not like anything. There's not anything like that.
No, we're not
nothing.
we're not
Boobs
that.
aren't- I'm just saying anything like strange.
No,
like
that wouldn't be weird.
I think we signed a back this
Yeah,
last tour,
it was
didn't
like
we?
it was a rounded
Tattoo.
tat.
Oh,
Yeah.
she had
Yeah.
she had a tattoo.
Oh wait, didn't we signed a
I'm not
baby's
sure
diaper
we would-
on this tour?
Oh
I'm
my
not
gosh,
sure.
here it all
I don't
comes
know.
out.
I know you said it was a girl. Like, yeah, it was. I don't think a dude would come through and ask us to sign his back tat. But dude got a back tat.
We've signed dudes'
Yeah, I guess we have.
bodies
Yeah, I guess-
before. I guess we've signed their shirts. I don't know what I don't know, like the back of their
We're
shirt. Yeah, I
equal
guess that's-
opportunity over here.
Man, whatever. That's the part on your body that's not too weird. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
next question.
Let's see.
Next
Let
and
me
last
think.
question. This has been a great
Let's
segment, by
see.
the way. This is great.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the next
Okay. This is from Andrea Davis. She has 3 questions, but I'm picking the first one, which is a good question. It's a long question. Prepping for a tour. What goes into deciding the set list, and how far in advance are you putting this together? And how much time does it take to learn the choreo?
It's a lot to unpack there. We've got a tour starting in October, mid-October, and we started discussing and trying to craft a set list probably about 2 weeks ago, I'd say. Started putting together ideas, pitching different songs. And as soon as we lock that down, we try to get the music out as soon as possible so guys can learn it before rehearsals start, which then leads into the next question. Once that music is learned, if it's learned beforehand, the choreography tends to come a lot easier, unless you're like 5 of the guys in the group. Then it takes the full week and then the next 3 shows. But generally, I would say 4 to 5 days for choreo overall for the band to get it. I think that's probably about right.
I was just going to say, as far as touring, we've been fortunate enough to do this for a long time now that we know ourselves and know how long it's going to take us to learn music and the choreo. And sometimes it's learning the things separately, but then also putting them together too,
Mhm.
right? So that kind of helps as well, putting the choreo with it. So now you have to do the music and the choreo at the same time. So it's nice to have those.
Yeah, and I'll say one thing about I think she asked like how long does it take usually, and
Yeah.
that all depends on how much of the show is new, and we're just rehashing old stuff in a new way. That could also take a little bit of time. So it always it's always different depending on how much is new, how much is older. But if there's an older arrangement that we might be doing a little differently than like a new song almost, because we're relearning it, all that stuff. All right, I think we got.
And a lot-
Yeah, go ahead, Ty.
I was just going to say that even though the song may not be new to us, the stage is always
Mhm.
new, right? So there's always a different place to stand for each song. So it's always interesting in the beginning of the tour to, a lot of times the hardest part is remembering where you start, even if it's just a stand
Yeah.
and sing song. Like, okay, this stage is different. Now I stand over here. Oh no, I'm over
Mhm.
here. Or sometimes you'll see the set list and look at the song and you'll be like, I don't know.
Yo, that stage mock up for the fall though, the Top Shelf tour.
Yeah, it looks nice. We
So
are
we
excited
I would suggest that people pay close attention to Freedom, the first
Yeah.
few shows,
early
Yeah,
on.
sorry.
in between songs. Not like during the song. During the song is great. In between songs, figuring out where he starts is
That's great.
always hilarious.
All right, I think we have the time for one more question. I think you got one over there in the chamber. Yeah, Ty.
Yes.
Last question
Okay,
for this
I think
one.
I forgot about our
Okay.
boy Rich. Okay. One of his questions
the best
was,
for
he had a
last.
bunch. He says, what size venue is too small to consider? And is there a venue size that's too big? And he comments that you may lose intimacy with bigger arenas and also the meet and greet factor with a big show.
Let me just say one thing first here, is that this is the conversation that we've had a lot. And the smaller venue, because the question, what is small is too small? And nowadays, that doesn't, how do I say this in the right way to say this? But if it's only like a 300 seat room, I don't want to say it's not worth it, but it's like it has to work within the larger scheme of our budget and all of our tours.
Our show is very expensive to put on.
So if it was a 300 seat room,
yeah,
for us to not lose any money, we've had conversations about this. It's like, man, it'd be awesome to do a tour of these little clubs and maybe no microphones even, and just do an off mic tour. And that'd be great, but it'd work.
But I would say, like, as much fun as it is to do arenas, we haven't done a ton, but it's not a good place to see a cappella, in my opinion. Not our show. Like a band like Pentatonics is geared for that. It's built for that. Our show is, like this person was saying, much more intimate. Like, I think of it like I think of stand-up comedy. Like, when you're in a smaller comedy club and you could, like, really connect with the comic when they're delivering jokes. And that doesn't mean, like, making eye contact. It just means, like, seeing facial expressions and small, nuanced movements that are helping the joke. I think the perfect size venue for us is anywhere from 1,500 to 3,500. Anywhere in that range is very manageable. You're still getting that intimate feel with the first 30 rows. You can see them all clearly. The balcony hangs forward, or you have the side balconies. It's really easy to connect super well with those size venues. Like when we do Mohegan Sun, it's incredible, but it's a different experience. It's not the same as you get in Hershey or the Murat or in Bloomington. It's a lot of fun because it's 6,500 people going nuts, but it's just different.
Thanks, Rich
and Rich,
and Jenny.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
thank you guys.
Thank you to everybody that put in or emailed us questions. Sorry we didn't get to the other people. Keep asking, and maybe next time
I think we should wrap it up here, guys.
Sounds good.
Great.
We've been rolling for a minute.
I'm so glad that we got this to work. We will be back with another new episode of the Unofficial Official Pod, episode 6. Next week, we will get to more questions. We will get to our travel issues that we were going to talk about this time that were hilarious and also really sad. But you have to
Very
come
sad.
back.
More sad than hilarious.
So you have to come back and listen to that. And obviously, we'll do more questions, and we will talk about what the next month looks like as we get ready for the Top Shelf tour over the fall. Anything you guys want to say before we wrap?
No, glad we got to get one in while we were off the
Absolutely.
road. Happy we can make this work. And I just would like to say that it's been awesome to hear the feedback from people, friends and family and other chasers that have fans that have reached out to us commenting on the pod. Thank you so much for the comments. It means a lot and it gives us joy, and that's why we're going to keep doing it.
Definitely. And as always, you can reach out to us on all the social media platforms at Unofficial Official Pod. You can email us at unofficialofficialpod@gmail.com. And please subscribe and rate the show wherever you may be listening or watching. And share it with a friend, or if you hate the show, someone you hate.
Love it. All right, guys. This has been episode number 5 of the Unofficial Official Pod. We will see you next time. Thanks.
Laters.